With free agency just around the corner, we've got our top 5 free agents that we want to go after. That's me, Keith Brugman. That's Mr. Trevor Salzman. This is the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Hope you have yours ready. We're about ready to get started right about now. Hey, welcome in. It's the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. We're almost on the eve of NFL free agency. It's one of the most happiest times of the year for a lot of teams. It's a happy time for me. My name is Keith Brugman. I'm going to be one of your hosts. I'm not going to be alone. I got my good friend right over here. My good friend, how you doing, Mr. Trevor Salzman, on a Saturday evening, man?
Yeah, doing well, Keith. Obviously starting to get some NFL news, starting to come in. Khalil Mack just re-signed with the Chargers, 1 year, $18 million, fully guaranteed. So we're starting to see some re-signings happen from teams. We're probably also going to see contracts restructures around the league still as teams continue to open up cap space for Monday's new league year tampering period. Once these deals start coming out. So, I mean, that'll be the next day or so. I think tomorrow will be a pretty active day, too. We say Monday. That's when the tampering period can begin. But technically, a lot of these deals are already being negotiated behind the scenes, more than likely. So, tomorrow I think will be a busy day. It could be a busy day for the Broncos, too, as they look to possibly create some more cap space, too.
Everybody's been watching the wire. Everybody's been watching the moves that have been made. Some of them have been for players and trades, but some of them, like you alluded to, Trevor, have been for freeing up cap space. We'll see what teams continue to do in the next 24 hours or so as they continue to want to make those moves, free up some money, and be aggressive when it comes to free agency. The Denver Broncos talked about being aggressive right out the gate. It seemed like the season was barely over, Trevor, and we had George Payton out there pounding the table about how aggressive we're going to be this season. So far, I mean, we've made a run at David Montgomery. That was probably the biggest news and probably pushed up the value for him. He was probably, I don't know if he was happy. I don't know if anybody was happy other than the Detroit Lions, who got better compensation. But that being said, missed out on David Montgomery. Any other news that you can think of? Because I was racking my brain trying to think of what the Denver Broncos have been so aggressive about so far this offseason. Because so far, we're kind of hearing crickets. And I'm not going to say that we're hearing crickets from the posse, but I'm going to get to the posse next. What else have you heard, man? Anything? Have we been involved in anything?
Oh, well, they were involved in the David Montgomery sweepstakes, but they the price, then they ended up giving up. Houston ended up giving up for Montgomery was the Broncos felt like was too high, and they were kind of took by surprise from what I've gathered by the asking price of that deal. But they were in on that deal, and it kind of seemed like it just happened pretty quickly. And I think Denver, they just seen the market, for running backs out there right now, and felt like, hey, we can still acquire a running back without having to give up draft compensation. As well as a player involved. So they've been involved in players, but just again, like some of these other deals, they just don't pan out very well. But again, the Broncos haven't been active, but the AFC West has been active as the Raiders trading Max Crosby late last night to the Baltimore Ravens for 2 first-round picks. That in itself is a victory for the Broncos. Max Crosby's been a Bronco killer for years, and so him being out of the division definitely helps Bo Nix, and that definitely helps out this this Denver Bronco team going forward. Now you don't have to deal with one of the best pass rushers in the league, Max Crosby. So definitely opened up the AFC West a little bit. Denver makes it a little bit easier to say. And Keith here, and this is another point: Trent McDuffie being moved. Those are two big moves in the AFC West that's been moved. Not Broncos news, but it's been in the AFC West. It's been moved. These players have been moved by the Chiefs, and then the Raiders. Obviously, now with trading Crosby, McDuffie trade happened. So the Chiefs and Raiders being active, trading away big players, looking for draft capital. That's certainly news to me.
Yeah, that's true, man. If we're going to get in here, we're going to start talking about news first and foremost. You got to start talking about the AFC West, probably one of the most active divisions so far in free agency, especially when it comes to big names. Trent McDuffie, Max Crosby, both exiting the AFC West. My concern is, and we'll find this out over the next few months, is what are the repercussions of trading away all these great players because they're getting compensation. They're going to be using that compensation. What they get to fill in, whether it be trading away those picks or utilizing those picks, will be interesting. Got to get to the posse, man. We got Ernie Mays coming in here and saying, "Go Broncos country only." Hello, Keith and friends. You guys are the only podcast I trust, man. Ernie, that means a lot, man. We appreciate you coming in here, trusting us, and we trust you. We trust you to come in here and be a part of every single one of our podcasts. We appreciate it so much. Awesome podcasters, he says as well, man. I appreciate you. Kenny's also a play and producer. He's saying, "Good evening, Keith. Good evening, fellas. Looking forward to the show. Keith or Trevor, change the ticker. Ha, ha, ha." Which I did. I did. So Miles, he also says, "Miles Garrett, I just want," and now Crosby in the same division. Hendrickson would be has been for, I don't. You got to clean up your English there, Kenny. I'm sorry, man. I don't have time for that. Sorry. TJ Watt, that should say. He said, well, anyway, I'm going to move on, man, because I got to really get to what the Denver Broncos are up to, man. Denver Broncos, like I said they're going to be aggressive this offseason. Now we're on the eve of free agency. We have our top 5 list. We're going to be counting those down from number 5 to number 1. I want everybody out there, the posse as well, to play along. Think about your top 5 free agents that you'd like the Denver Broncos to go after. This isn't trades. This isn't draft picks. This is free agents. So if you need to go out there and take a look at a list, I imagine a few of you already have a name or two in mind. But please, by all means, play along. By the way, I challenged Trevor right before we went live to say I'm going to take him out in this contest by having the best top 5. Maybe you all should vote, give your opinion. We'll rename the names at the very end, but we're going to start off with Trevor. I'll give you the floor first and foremost because you're beating the table for your number 5 guy. Talk about Mr. Calais Campbell, my friend.
Yeah, Calais Campbell, 39 years old, Calais Campbell. This is the guy that should have been a Bronco about 10 years ago and then end up going to Jacksonville. Denver native. I think this would be a great veteran replacement for John Franklin Myers, who is expected to be on the move. Titans. No, but Calais Campbell, I think, would be a really good veteran in this locker room. I mean, he's a veteran leader on and off the field. I think that he would be a great player for a guy like Savion Jones, a young player to learn behind. You get that rotation in that on that defensive line. Savion Jones, Calais Campbell working together, and just Calais Campbell, I think, in general, would really help this Broncos defensive line. Gives you a guy for a year that, again, at least you have a high floor at defensive line. This isn't a great defensive line class from a draft class perspective in this year's draft class. So this is why I have Calais Campbell on this list as well. 6.5 sacks last year with Arizona, 22 pressures. I mean, this is a guy that, I mean, again, he's not going to be your full John Franklin Myers replacement, but he's certainly going to help ease the edge off replacing JFM, and you're again going to help the floor of your defensive line. Is going to help this defensive line stay stagnant and stay above average and stuff. So I like Calais Campbell a lot. Again, I mean, from what Spot Track ended up having his contract predicted as just 1 year, $10 million. Wouldn't be surprised if he got right around that. Spot Track kind of up and down with their money. Sometimes I actually find that their stuff's a little bit lower than what players actually get from a average annual value perspective year to year. So Calais Campbell, though, love the fit for Denver. Again, a guy that Savion Jones can really learn behind, and even Wazirike can learn behind. I mean, this is a guy that knows how to do it on and off the field, been doing it for a long time. Will be 40 years old September 1st, I believe. So definitely getting up there in age, but you're not asking him to be that Batman for this team. You're not asking him to put up double-digit sacks. What you're asking from him is 6-7 sack season, put pressure on the quarterback, step up into the run game, stop the run, and then help teach some of these young guys at the position how to do it and how to do it the right way. Calais Campbell, for me, is my number 5 free agent that I want the Broncos to take a look at. And this would be, Keith, oh, by the way, if you sign a 1 year, $10 million deal, this would be because Denver either created a little bit more cap space and what they originally have right now is around $20-ish million, or they would miss out on maybe getting that tight end, or they're going to wait or whatnot, because again, Calais Campbell is going to be probably around that $9-10 million range from an average annual value standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with you on a lot of different parts, man. I'll be completely honest. You'll see how much I agree, Posse, in just a moment. I'll get to the Posse and their thoughts on their number 5, because we do have one in there already, before I get my thoughts on mine. But yours, Calais Campbell, is, I agree, a guy that I wanted in Denver a long, long time ago. A guy that is fairly long in the tooth, but can certainly bring that experience. Is a guy that can certainly play the position that we need him to play on that defensive line, because I think we need something solid up front, especially with JFM leaving. So I like a lot of things about Calais Campbell. I'm going to go a slightly different route, but first I'll get our first vote in for a number 5. That's coming in from Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. His number 5 is Bobby Okereke. And I think we're going to hear that name a little bit later, Kenny. So you're not the only one that has Bobby Okereke on the list. We'll talk about him more in in a minute if you just stick around. But good thoughts on Bobby Okereke. You'll see how good it is, because, like I said, it is on one of our lists. Number 5 for me, man, I'm going to go with the grave digger himself, Javon Hargrave. This is a guy that, if I go back and I look at his stats, 2021, 7.5 sacks. 2022, 11 sacks. 2023, 7.5 sacks. 2024, he tears his tricep. 2025, he comes back, and as he leaves the Minnesota Vikings, has a few things to say, such as, if you want to never get after the quarterback, and I'm paraphrasing, just play on that Vikings defense with Flores as your defensive coordinator. He was not happy with his role in the Vikings defense. He's been a productive guy right there in the middle where we need him. This is the guy I want, man. For all the same reasons you just got done talking about, Trevor. A guy that's going to be in there, be a veteran presence, be that guy in the middle, be that guy that can teach up the guys around him, be that guy that can come in on probably a 1 year, maybe a 2 year contract that's really a 1 year contract. Here's where we're at, man. Bring the grave digger in, and I think he's a guy that's not only got a few years left in the tank, but is obviously, very, very motivated after his year in Minnesota. So I'd love to bring him in. By the way, from my estimations, what I've seen, going to be in the $8 to $12 million range on an average salary. You know what I mean? So be in that range. Hopefully you get them for a little bit less. But like you said, I think there's going to be a lot of money moved around if any of these moves are going to be made. So that's my number 5. Number 4 for you is where we're going to have to go next, my friend.
Sounds good.
All right, man. And I think this is your number 4, if I'm ever right.
Yeah, Bobby Okereke, exactly. Bobby Okereke, I mean, again, everyone wants to talk about, Lloyd, the linebacker from Jacksonville, but Bobby Okereke, he was a cap casualty with the Giants, had a down season with the Giants, but a year ago, I mean, he was very good for the Giants, and I don't think that gets talked about enough. He was one of 6th best linebacker in the league, according to PFF, just a season ago. Again, the tackling and his run defense has kind of soured a little bit from a year standpoint, but a year later, to say. But I love what Bobby Okereke brings to the team. I mean, he's really good in coverage. This would be, again, if Denver moves off of like possibly a Drake Greenlaw, possibly maybe Sternad don't come back. Okereke match him up with Alex Singleton. Alex Singleton obviously really good against the run, struggles in the passing game. I really like what Bobby Okereke can bring to this team. He's not going to break the bank like Lloyd would. He's going to be expensive. Don't get me wrong, but I just like what Bobby Okereke brings. I mean, he's been very good for many years now. Was a player that I talked highly about with Kenny for a long time. Kenny knows Bobby Okereke very well. So I really like what Bobby Okereke brings to this team. If the Broncos are going to go outside the organization for a linebacker in free agency, this would be a name that I would really like the Broncos to pursue. I think he's a good tackler. Just, again, had a down season. So that's why you see the Giants possibly want to redo that linebacker room a little bit. But a guy that was still going to be top of the market at linebacker and can really solve a lot of issues the Broncos have, specifically covering tight ends, being that coverage linebacker. He's durable. He's on the field. We haven't seen that a lot from Greenlaw. So this would be like a Greenlaw kind of replacement, in my opinion, with Bobby Okereke. But it's a guy that's durable. He's going to bring in each and every game. And he's got a really good attitude on and off the field. Can bring some leadership abilities on over to Denver and fit in well with this defense.
And look at him screaming there on the screen, man, for all of those who are watching. No, Bobby Okereke, like you said, Kenny Kirkpatrick, obviously very much in line. It was his number 5. But I want to talk about another linebacker, Jody Moncrief. He was actually talking a little bit behind the scenes, one of the other horsemen. He really likes Devin Bush, a guy that obviously the Denver Broncos were supposed to target many, many years ago. Many people were questioning whether the Denver Broncos went the wrong direction as Devin Bush was on the board. Devin Bush has his stint, obviously, in Pittsburgh, but ends up moving on. What are your thoughts around Devin Bush, and do you think he's a good match for this Denver Broncos defense?
I do like Devin Bush. This season of Devin Bush, this is kind of where I'm a little sour on Devin Bush's. He hasn't done it consistently enough for me. I mean, I think he's had one really good year, but after that, I mean, before then, he was kind of just around the league. I mean, he would, he really hasn't had the greatest career up to this point. I think some team's going to pay him this offseason, of course, being that Cleveland Browns defense. I think he did a very good job for Cleveland this past season, and I think he's going to get paid. But I want consistency at linebacker. I think if you're going to pay top of the market money, you're going to release Drake Greenlaw, you're probably not going to bring back Justin Sternad. You've got to get some durability. You got to get consistency in that linebacker room. And really, the Broncos haven't had that since Danny Trevathan's been here. And you've seen Brandon Marshall here back in the past. So I like Devin Bush. I wouldn't be in love with the signing, though. I think it's a huge risk with him. He's also had some issues staying healthy in the past, too. So he would be a buyer beware kind of signing for me. I think I would just rather probably bring back Singleton and roll with Greenlaw, I think, over Devin Bush.
Very good. Very good. I'm going to jump on this one, and then we're going to start moving on to all our number 4s, including mine. Jody comes in, and his number 4 is Cam Jordan. Man, it's funny how we're all in that same mindset of adding that big guy that's on that defensive line that can be in that rotation. Now, Cam Jordan's played a little bit more towards the edge, but I think he can play towards the middle. Has had a fantastic career, probably a Hall of Fame career. Had a couple down years, really came back last year. That's the one thing that concerns me is where is he at? He played well in that contract year. How much more does he have in the tank? It was a little bit of a question that I had with your pick as well, Trevor, to be completely honest. I know that Calais Campbell feels like he's otherworldly. It feels like Cam Jordan, in a long way, is very otherworldly. I'm hoping that Javon Hargrave also stays on that tack. So we're all in the same mindset. I wouldn't be disappointed with Cam Jordan. I just hope he can repeat what he did last season because I was a big Cam Jordan fan. In fact, I was pounding the table for the Denver Broncos to take him when he came out in the draft, and that was just a couple years ago.
Well, and I will say, if Cam Jordan was willing to move inside, then yes, that's on the table. But he's played edge rusher most of his career, so right now Denver doesn't need that unless you're moving off of Jonathan Cooper. So that would be why Cam Jordan wouldn't be in Denver unless he's going to put his hand in the dirt and be on the defensive line, which he could possibly do. I mean, you never know. I mean, guys, players sacrifice different things to try to win a Super Bowl. Maybe Cam Jordan does that. That would be he would have made my list if he's willing to do that. But for me, I don't think he's willing to do that. He'll probably go to another team, be an edge rusher. He'll get paid a little bit more money, and still can probably go win a Super Bowl elsewhere. So I think with Denver, Keith, I think you have Hargrave and I had Calais Campbell. My understanding for me was you got to get Savion Jones in on this rotation. He's got to be a part of this team. You spend a third-round draft pick on him. I want to be able to give myself some safety from a defensive line's perspective, sign a veteran, but I don't want to overdo it and Savion Jones doesn't see the field because that doesn't solve Savion Jones much, and you don't know what you have in him as a player. And I think this next season, the Broncos got to figure out what they have with Savion Jones.
I agree, man. Want to continue to elevate those guys. That's what we see in the Denver Broncos as of late. It's that slow development. We don't take typically a fast line to the front. Savion Jones is one of those guys that we want to see elevate in the next year, as well as probably like a Jahdae Barron. I think that's going to be on everyone's mind as well. Albert Knopper is coming in and saying, hello all, good to see you. Albert Mile High, Dutchie. Good to see you, my friend. Always good to talk some football with you. And Vic's coming in saying, yo, and he's saying so many options. We got our good friend coming in as well. Hey, by the way, Vic, thanks for coming in over on YouTube. Good to see you, my friend. And I don't know if I've said your name before, but if not, you are my friend now because I've said that like 3 times. So my good friend Patrick Wiltsey over there in Hawaii coming in, and he's putting Campbell number 4, Bush number 5, and I'm sure he'll have more to come as we count down from all the way to number 1. Big E Bronco, I would like to see Denver go either Devin Lloyd, not one of the big name running backs like maybe Tyler Algier, and I'd be happy with those two. To be honest, we're doing a top 5, and we know we're not going to be able to get all these guys on our roster probably, right? If I was to land all these guys, we would have some cap room to be made on my list here. I don't know if I could land all my top 5. I don't think I would be able to. I'm just looking. In fact, I guarantee I wouldn't be able to. That would be too much, or there would be some funny money in there. So Biggie Bronco brings up a great point, man. I like your plan, man. Devin Lloyd, Tyler Algier, put a couple of pieces in the bank and head off to the NFL draft. Good call. Cam Jordan sounds pretty good, Jody, according to Ernie Mays. And just one more from Biggie Bronco, then I'm going to jump back into our countdown list before we run out of time tonight. He said, and I really do not want Walker from Seattle. He's coming out of the Kubiak Shanahan system, kicks out 1,000-yard running backs like it's nothing. The special ones have 2,000 yards. Very true, man. In that old Shanahan system, man, 2,000 yards is what you're looking at. One more, I guess. I'm going to just put this on you, man. What do you think about Rashad Gary, linebacker, Green Bay? Rodney wants to know, coming in on YouTube.
Rashad Gary, I think he's going to be more of an edge guy. If he moves inside, of course, I think that you would consider it, but he's gonna cost a little bit as well. So you got to keep that in place. See, for me, if you're Denver, because and this is something that's been talked about before. In free agency, teams are always overpaying. If you're the Broncos, you've got to be cautious of that. You can't go overpaying for everybody. There is a cap. Eventually, it'll catch up to you. You can move money down the line for next year. That's fine, but just keep in mind you got to pay Bo next year in a couple seasons. Have to keep that in mind. You don't want to lose guys down the road just because you overspent. And so you're starting to see like Jacksonville losing Devin Lloyd or possibly even losing Travis Etienne Jr. That's your starting linebacker and your starting running back because you overspent. And so the Broncos have to be cautious. They have to really calculate on what they're spending their money on, what position, solving needs, of course. Rashad Gary, I think, is going to cost a little bit more than maybe what you want. If the Broncos are not able to get their tight end, possibly, then you could see them maybe spend a little bit more money on that defensive line. But again, I think Denver, if they're trying to go the veteran route on the defensive line, you got to get a guy that's a rotational defensive lineman, because you don't want to block Savion Jones, so you spend a third-round draft pick on. You got to get him on the field and find a way to get him on the field, because if not, it's a very disappointing draft pick. And like George Payton and Sean Payton have talked about before, drafting and developing players, it's a big thing, for this organization.
I'm going to get to my number 4. I'm going to get to Kenny's number 4, and then we got to get moving on as we count down to 1. We also have an amazing sponsor tonight we'll be talking about here shortly. My number 4 target, man, is the guy that's been hidden on a roster for 4 years now, man. I want to talk about Isaiah Likely, man. 4 years with the Baltimore Ravens, has been buried as a tight end, but I think the guy's just, going to break out as soon as he gets the opportunity. Here's the guy that has a catch percentage of 69.6%. And that's because he had a bad first year of only 60% catch percentage. He's had 75, 72.4, and 75% catch percentage. He averages 8.1 yards per target. I mean, this is a guy that is an absolute threat and has been buried behind tight end after tight end in Baltimore. He needs to break out. He needs a team. And the Denver Broncos could use a guy like Isaiah Likely. He's my number 4 guy, and I'm going to pound the table for him, man, as I'm trying to take home the crown between me and Trevor as the best number 4. Your number 4 again? Who was that again?
Who was my number 4? Bobby Okereke.
Oh, okay, very good. Yeah. Kenny also wants to put in his 2 cents for Dallas Goedert as well. Give me your thoughts on Isaiah Likely, Dallas Goedert, and I'll hit the comments as well and see if there's anybody else that likes to.
Isaiah Likely. He was on my list as well, Keith, for the longest time, and then I took him off my list for a different tight end, and we'll get it down the line, and I'll mention who that name is, who I replaced Isaiah Likely with. But I like Isaiah Likely. My concern is, what the heck did Baltimore see in Mark Andrews that they didn't see in Isaiah Likely? There's a reason why they let Isaiah Likely hit the market. I do think he has a lot of upside as a tight end. I think if you're Denver, I think it kind of takes a little bit of pressure off you having to draft a tight end, because Isaiah Likely's 25 years old. I mean, that's a guy that you can develop as a tight end, and I like the option. I mean, he's a very athletic tight end downfield. I think he's an improved blocker as well. This could be a guy that I think you could see teams really want to put some money out there for, just knowing his age and the compensation you're going to have to give up for him. From a money perspective, I think this is a tight end that's got some upside to his game, and I think is a willing blocker. I think I think he'll improve. He's a red zone threat that you have. And again, does this mean Evan Ingram's out the door? I'm not sure. That was my only take back from this. Like, if Denver's not moving off of Evan Ingram, how would him and Isaiah Likely kind of fit together? And maybe I'll ask you that question, Keith, really quickly. How do you think Evan Ingram and Isaiah Likely would fit together as a pair if the Broncos kept Evan Ingram and signed Isaiah Likely?
I think it would be a quick transition, my friend, because to me, I think we need to start looking at the future. We heard Sean Payton talk about how young this team is when he was at the NFL Combine. I think this is a place that we need to get younger, not older. And when we look at Evan Ingram, we're looking at an older tight end that we're hoping to continue to maybe rejuvenate that flame. I think we need to get into a place where we're taking a guy that's been underutilized, doesn't have a whole lot of wear and tear because of the snaps, and is still very young as he comes into this league. I'm all about really moving on for an Evan Ingram and putting Isaiah Likely into that place. What are your thoughts, though? I know that you're a big proponent of Dallas Goedert, and that's where Kenny is coming in and putting his number 4 pick. I kind of saved it till now. Your thoughts, maybe compare and contrast maybe Isaiah Likely and Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I was on Dallas Goedert pretty early on in free agency, or pretty early on this off season, I should say. But I've kind of soured on him a little bit just because of his blocking. Rating has really, I mean, him as a blocker, I think he's not as sound as he used to be, and that's worrisome for me. He's also 31, like probably looking for a 3-year deal. And I think he's a very reliable target. I'm not buying that Philly's not gonna find a way to bring him back. I wouldn't be surprised if the next day or so Philly tries to bring him back on a new deal. But I like Dallas Goedert. I think he's an option. Again, for me, I'm trying to get a little bit younger at tight end. I think Dallas Goedert is definitely your tight end one if you bring him in. He does give you that veteran presence downfield. I just want a little bit more explosiveness. I mean, that's with Goddard. I think his ceiling is not as high as some of these other guys that are on our list, Keith. But I like Goddard maybe as a second option if they're not able to get a couple other guys in free agency. But would be a nice tight end for like even the Stowers or guys in the draft to learn under as one of the really most solid tight ends I think in football.
Good call, man. Good call. If you're going to transition, you have that veteran guy there. Maybe a Dallas Goddard is a better option than, especially in my particular situation where an Isaiah Likely comes in and you're asking Evan Ingram to hit the door. And we all know that our tight end room, we'll see how free agency really pans out, but there's a lot of our tight ends or fullbacks out there as possible free agents as well. Biggie Bronco, Tremaine Edmonds, he just doesn't fit the system in Chicago right now. That's where he would go as far as a linebacker, since we kind of been on that linebacker talk. And I think that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to give my number 3. We'll hit a sponsorship, and then I'm going to give you your number 3. I'm jumping the line now. You've been going first. It's my turn now. I think it's been a name on a lot of people's tongues, and as I went through and I was trying to rank these opponents or these players, I was trying to figure out exactly where I wanted to have them. At one point, I had them a little bit higher. I ended up bringing them down to my number 3. I want to get this linebacker figured out. Trevor, I don't know how many years I've been podcasting with you, with Jody. It seems like if we can rewind to days before Rocky Mountain Sports Network when we had and the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, when we had other podcasts, and it seems like I've been talking about middle linebacker forever. I would love to say that we could trust Dre Greenlaw to come back, but you know what? I'm going to put my trust in Devin Lloyd. And a guy that put up 113 tackles his first year, 127 tackles his second year, 113 tackles his third year. In his fourth year, this last year, he did only put up 81 total tackles, but he decided to put up 5 interceptions instead this last year, which was obviously a career high for him. And think about how many Denver Broncos had 5 interceptions last year. Played a little bit different position. He can be downhill. He can play sideline to sideline. He was a guy that I really liked coming out of the draft. And I think if you end up taking Devin Lloyd and you end up putting him in this Denver Bronco defense, you have something special, my friends. Sign me up for Devin Lloyd. Again, a young option for this Denver Broncos team to start to build around and continue to build around, so you're not chasing old contracts. I like Devin Lloyd. And then I guess I do have one other question. want to get your thoughts, though, man, on Devin Lloyd, my number 3 pick.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see why teams and everybody would be in love with Devin Lloyd. I am not one of those people. Again, this is one of my buyer beware stickers. I'm going to put it on Devin Lloyd because while he did have a great season this past year, if you look at his career beforehand, I mean, it's like, not the greatest. It's like, if you can get Devin Lloyd from this past year for a couple more years, great. But I wonder, are you paying for Devin Lloyd what he did this past season, or are you paying him for what he's going to do? You're hoping for both, obviously, but I just that's big money. He's going to cost dang near $20 million a year. You're talking about really going big on this one. This free agent signing. I like Devin Lloyd. I just don't know that I'm in love with him enough to pay him big money. I think he had a fantastic season this past year. Absolutely deserves to get paid, of course, but I'm concerned with what he did beforehand, which wasn't a ton. His passer rating this past year was 57. Before that, I was 109.6 against him. Completion percentage was around 70% this year, was 69 the year before then. I mean, the completion percentage wasn't even the biggest issue. Missed tackles has been something in his career, early on in his career. Had 14 his first season and 12 in his second season. Those have come down a little bit, but again, I like the player. Not sure I love the player because I think it restricts the Broncos. If you're paying this guy $20 million a year, are you able to go out there and get your tight end? Are you able to go out there and address multiple areas? Or is this your big home run hitter in free agency and you're really kind of not cap strapped, but you're hurting more for money because you're not able to address these other positions? If I can get a mid-tier kind of free agent, at linebacker, or maybe a guy that's just cheaper. That's why I said Bobby Okereke. I think he'll be cheaper than a guy like Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd, top of the market. He's going to get paid. Him and Alec Pierce are going to get paid big time money. You're really, if you're the Denver Broncos, you're really going home run signing for these guys, and not much. I don't know. I'm not sure there's going to be much you can do behind those signings, but can certainly see why somebody would like the upside of Devin Lloyd.
Yeah, to rewind just a little bit, Isaiah Likely, my number 4 pick, average could be anywhere from $8 to $13 million per year. Devin Lloyd, a little bit different. We're looking in the 16 to probably 20 million on the top end type of realm per year on average. So one thing I need to get to before we get into our the rest of our top 5, our 3s, 2s, and number 1 picks. Hey, stick around. We even got some wild cards as well. No wild card here is our sponsor, and that's Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets has been your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices for over 35 years. They were a nationwide company. Now they just hang out in your backyard doing fantastic shows. Northern Colorado, Southern Wyoming. Speaking of which, they'll be wrapping up a fantastic show out at Longmont Fairgrounds, the Survival Show, tomorrow, March 8th. Get out there. Be there or be square, as they used to say in my day. March 8th, Longmont Fairgrounds. Like I said, Morgan Trinkets. But if you happen to miss them tomorrow, don't worry. March 14th and 15th, they have the Coin Show out at the Longmont Fairgrounds. Morgan Trinkets will be there as well. All your Southwest jewelry, all your Southwest pottery, all your estate gold at wholesale prices. Check them out on Etsy as well by typing in Morgan Trinkets Co. And check them out on eBay by typing in Pearl Heat, because Pearl Heater is the amazing owner of Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets, check them out. Like I said, got plenty of opportunities. Longmont Fairgrounds this Sunday as well as next weekend as well. Let me see. I just scrolled down. I think I actually wanted to get to one other one. Actually, I'm going to get to that in just a second because we got to continue on and get to. Actually, this is a perfect opportunity because we're going to get to Vic's comment here as we talk about your number 3. Talk about why you want Cade Otton on this team, and then maybe we can get to Vic's comment as well. He's wanting to know why Likely versus Otton, or Likely or Otton. We had him on. We both had tight ends. You have one. I have the other. Talk about Cade Otton.
Yeah, Cade Otton for me. This is who I actually replaced Isaiah Likely with. Was Cade Otton. I was back and forth on these two players, but Cade Otton for me. I mean, he just you're solid all the way around tight end. I mean, 92% of his snaps were on the field. I mean, he's been in the 90% percentile for like 3 seasons now total. He also is the guy that was, I believe, around for the Tom Brady era in Tampa Bay. He's adjusted really well to Baker Mayfield when they've had Mike Evans out. Chris Godwin's been out. He's stepped up in the big role in the passing game. The stats aren't flashy with Cade Otton, but again, he's the guy that really good blocking tight end. I mean, this past year, his pass blocking and run blocking were down a little bit, but just a season ago, I mean, he was one of the better pass blockers and run blockers in the league from a tight end perspective. 6'5", 247. I mean, he's got the size and he's got the range I think you want from a tight end. He can be a vertical threat downfield. He can be a willing blocker and a good blocker, both from a blocking perspective and the pass blocking perspective. He's adjusted to quarterbacks pretty well. I think he'd give Bo Nix a viable option downfield. Also, 26 years old, young. He's got probably not as much upside as Isaiah Likely. Would be the difference for me. Is Isaiah Likely's thing's got more upside from a vertical threat downfield kind of guy. Cade Otton, but I do think Cade Otton really does help your floor at tight end. He gives this team a floor. That's something the Broncos haven't had in how many years. That's why I say Cade Otton. If you sign Cade Otton, it doesn't stop you from drafting a tight end in the first, second, third round, whatever, however you want to go. You can still draft Eli Stowers and still have a guy like Cade Otton. Those would be a really good mixture between those two. I love what Cade Otton brings. He's a winner. He's won quite a bit in Tampa Bay. He's on the field pretty much all the time. Again, I just said 90% of his snaps on the field. That's 3 years in a row. He's durable. Not the flashiest name in the world, but my gosh, he gives you something at tight end, and that's something like an all-around tight end that you have on the field, and you can still go get your upside tight end in the draft and develop him right behind Cade Otton, or even use him in sets.
I like what you say. But if I'm gonna like stand my ground and try to win this competition between us, and I got Likely or Otton sitting up here on the screen from Vic coming in on YouTube, I'll give you my 2 cents, and I'll do it real quick, man. I'm not going to continue to elaborate and go on and on. I don't know, like sometimes Trevor can. I'll make it real quick for you, Posse. I think with Cade Otton, you got the very best of what you ever hoped Adam Troutman would ever be. Be that blocking guy, have that receiving ability, not going to be too flashy, but can be on the field a lot. With Isaiah Likely, I think you have the ability to see a Shannon Sharp type of product on the field if he's at his very best. Who do you want? Adam Troutman, Shannon Sharp. That's my I rest your honor. I rest your honor.
One of these tight ends is Shannon Sharp, a Hall of Famer.
I'm just saying. On the defense, prosecution is already rested. I made my 2 cents. Let me see. We got a few more votes coming in. Jody's really wanting David Njoku. And this is a guy that's kind of falls in that same realm as I think Isaiah Likely, that guy that you kind of want to see break out, that guy that has a ton of upside, especially when it comes to the receiving game. It worries me. He had a few more drops. He doesn't have the catch percentage like I see from Isaiah Likely. I feel like the time is starting to pass him by in comparison. What are your thoughts on David Njoku? I know you're a big Cade Otton fan. I compared him a little bit to Isaiah Likely. I wouldn't necessarily compare Njoku to Otton, but hey, it's up to you, my friend. What do you think of Jody, another horseman coming in here with his vote for a tight end?
I mean, I would say that you're probably moving off of Evan Ingram. I don't see how Njoku and Evan Ingram can coexist. And that's the thing is a lot of these is, that's why I want Cade Otton route, because I think you can still compare him up with Evan Ingram, gives you a little more flexibility. Like, you don't absolutely have to move off of Evan Ingram if you don't want to. I think with Njoku, I think Evan Ingram's probably out the door. And that would be the reason why I would like Njoku in. I think he's a little bit more of an upgrade than Evan Ingram. But again, it's like you can go back to this whole scenario. Why is Cleveland letting him go? They had Harold Fannin Jr., just this past year that they drafted, and he overtook Njoku in a lot of ways. And Cleveland's just letting him walk. I mean, pretty much for nothing. So I like David Njoku, but I just, again, from a Sean Payton perspective, I think he wants that all-around tight end, a guy that can block efficiently, but it also could be that big vertical threat downfield, gives this team some sort of floor. I do like Njoku for that. Probably moving off of Evan Ingram if you're going after David Njoku. Njoku would give you something, in this tight end room as well. I don't think he's as good of a blocker as capabilities as Otton. I know we've seen some comments like Otton's blocking this year wasn't the greatest. I understand that, but the year before then, in years past, he has that ability to be that special blocker for this team. And you know what he can do, even if he didn't do it this past year. So I think for Njoku, he gives you something, but you're probably moving off of Evan Ingram if he's coming to Denver. I don't mind the David Njoku move though. So I can certainly see where Jody's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that we need a tight end. I like the piece. Bringing in an additional piece. You're getting a lot of compliments, Trevor, from the idea of bringing in a guy, but also bringing in a guy from the draft. as well, to kind of develop and bring those pieces along. Rodney's coming in, and honestly, we're gonna have a wild card round, and in retrospect, this is a guy I probably should have had on my double wild card, like Trevor's gonna do to you. But Nakobe Dean, linebacker as well. This was really close to making my list. I like Nakobe Dean as well. I think that's a great opportunity. And like I said, in retrospect, Rodney, I probably would have had him on my doubled up wild card, if I would have thought about it a little bit clearer. So good call out when it comes to Nakobe Dean as well. Where are we at now? Are we already at like number twos? Oh my
Yep.
goodness, number twos. You know what? I'm going to throw it back over to you, and I'll let you talk about your number two, and I'll follow up. We'll go back and forth and back and forth. How's that, my friend?
Sounds great. So my number 2 is Tyler Algier. Again, that's why I talked about running backs. You've got to get the Broncos got to get a veteran running back for easy. That's got to be priority number one. Whether that's the guy that we're going to be talking about, that's our number one that we share, that's our number one, or like a Tyler Algier, Rico Dowdle. The Broncos have got to be aggressive getting in a running back. And I mean, I've been saying it for a couple off seasons now, and I mean, I think Tyler Algier, pair him up with Archie Harvey. I think that would be a really good duo together. I think Tyler Algier has kind of been blocked by Bijan Robinson. People said, well, yeah, the stats don't look great for Tyler Algier. Well, he was a 1,000-yard rusher before Bijan Robinson even got to Atlanta. So there's something there with him. They've liked him up to this point. Where they didn't trade him. They're letting him at free agency, but I think he'd be a nice combination with RJ Harvey. You've got to find a way to use RJ Harvey. You draft him in the second round. I mean, you can't just forget about RJ Harvey. Whatever running back that you get, they've got to coexist with RJ Harvey. And so I think Tyler Algier, good pass blocker. I think he's a better J.K. Dobbins. That's what I think he is. I think he's more reliable than J.K. Dobbins. He's on the field more often. He's a good pass blocker. I think he can be effective in the receiving game. And I think that he's a patient, running back. He's not doesn't have a ton of speed, but RJ Harvey, I think he's your speed guy. Tyler Algier, he's a guy that's going to be between the tackles, could read the field pretty well. I think he could be used really well in the red zone when you're talking about those, 3rd and 1s from the 3-yard line. If you need someone to get you a touchdown, Tyler Algier's built for that. So I like what this, if the Broncos won this route, Tyler Algier, he's right up there with for me when it comes to targets for the Broncos. I think he'd be a really nice option for Denver, and a guy that could really fit in really well with Sean Payton, what he wants to do. Not going to break the bank again at running back with getting Tyler Algier, but certainly gives you a nice viable option and to use in this backfield alongside RJ Harvey.
A lot of faith in RJ Harvey. That would be my question for you, Trevor, because here's a guy, Tyler Algier, that's never had to take that spotlight by himself. This is definitely a shared role type of situation. And I think, does Tyler Algier and RJ Harvey, is that an improvement over RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, in your opinion? That's what I'll throw to you right now.
Yes, I think so. I think Tyler Algier can be on the field a lot more than J.K. Dobbins. When the Broncos signed J.K. Dobbins this past offseason, later in the offseason, that was one of my biggest concerns with him was he's not going to be able to play all season long. So you're putting a lot of pressure on RJ Harvey to really develop throughout the season. And he did develop a little bit throughout the season, probably not where you want him to be. But I think with Tyler Algier, you're getting a guy that's pretty durable. It's a lot more durable than I think J.K. Dobbins. And he has done it before. His first season in the NFL, he was a 1,000-yard rusher. He just sitting behind one of the best running backs in the league. So it's hard to get playing time. But even then, he's still putting up 500, 600 rushing yard seasons. And I think in a bigger role, you're going to see this guy flourish a little bit more and really coexist with RJ Harvey pretty well, and really maybe do some of the things that RJ Harvey's not so good at. And that's, again, pass blocking. You want RJ Harvey to continue to develop, but taking some pressure off of him, this would be that kind of signing for Denver, and just give Bo Nix a viable running back behind him that can be on the field game to game.
I will give you this. If it came down to voting for guys that I wanted to punch it across the goal line, he would probably be on my top 5 list. That's how good Tyler Algier is near the goal line and how he can be utilized at times. And that says a lot for a guy that shares a backfield in comparison to a lot of other running backs that may get the bulk of the load. Tyler Algier is fantastic when it comes to that short yardage situations, and would certainly help out in that regard. Martin, he put this comment up a long time ago, and I made sure that I wanted to come back to this because don't want to miss out on any of our posse comments. And he says, when we start talking about running backs, Kenneth Gainwell, is not my first choice. In fact, he's more like fourth or fifth. But why aren't Broncos fans talking about Kenneth Gainwell? And Martin, I agree. He certainly tickled my ear, I guess you could say, or my eye when it came to the free agent list. I thought about him. You know, his production in Pittsburgh, I've absolutely loved. I agree with you. I don't know if he's my top choice, but you know, if for some reason on a cheap contract we end up with Kenneth Gainwell, I wouldn't be crying at all. I think that it's an undervalued player right now in the running back market, especially when running back is starting to elevate. Let's get Trevor's 2 cents on it, and then I got to scroll all the way back down to the bottom and see if anybody else has been commenting because, man, we appreciate everyone that's out there listening, watching it, and playing along as well. Thoughts on Kenneth Gainwell, my friend?
Yeah, I like Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, if things don't work out and you don't get a lead back, I would say Kenneth Gainwell would definitely be in play there. I will say, if you get Kenneth Gainwell and RJ Harvey, though, I don't know that you have a real lead back there. I mean, you're hoping that you get like an Algier or even a Travis Etienne. I think ahead of Gainwell because Gainwell could be, that guy that you can mix in with RJ Harvey, I think, pretty well. But it's like, I don't know that's a big upgrade for this team. I think J.K. Dobbins, maybe bringing J.K. Dobbins back would probably have to be in play. If you're talking about bringing in a guy like Kenneth Gainwell, I think J.K. Dobbins, maybe pairing him back in that backfield with R.J. Harvey would have to be in play. I think Gainwell, what I like about Gainwell, he can do a lot of the things as well that R.J. Harvey really can do or has been unable to up to this point. So I like Kenneth Gainwell at a lower cost. That would certainly mean that Denver's not fully invested in a running back and they're not going to spend big money on a running back, then maybe they're using that money on a linebacker or in a different area. But I do like Kenneth Gainwell as a buy low kind of option. I will say, Keith, and I was going to say with Tyler Algier, I think if Denver goes out and signs a Tyler Algier, I think that probably eliminates J.K. Dobbins coming back.
Fair enough. Yeah, I would agree. I don't think you see an Algier and a J.K. Dobbins, but I also feel like you're very similar when you're talking about Algier and you're starting to talk about guys. And who are we just talking about? All of a sudden, I was reading comments off to the side. Kenneth Gainwell. Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like you're playing a very similar game there. Kenny saying Gainwell over Dobbins for me, Martin, and yeah, I would say Gainwell over Dobbins for sure. Now Algier, that's a whole nother competition. I'm not going to try to persuade the jury since we're in this competition here. And I'm the guy that has the mic the most, I guess you could say in some regard. I got to get to my top number two, but I wanted to get to Ron here. Maybe not my best defense as I get to my number two here. He's saying, we could get Travis Etienne, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Njoku for the cost of Alec Pierce. And we could do well at linebacker, not cut one like Caden Ellis. Or not cut one like Caden Ellis. I think we'd have to go out and get Caden Ellis, correct? No, cut one like Caden Ellis, yes. I like what you're putting together there, Ron. ETN, Wan'Dale Robinson, David Njoku, but I'll be honest, Ron, my number two was Alex Pierce. So I'm going to talk about him for a second and try to, I guess, make my case against that, Ron. I don't know if it's a case against it, but I do like what Alec Pierce has done and it continues to do. Now, if you're looking at a guy that you want to invest in, and we talked about a little bit earlier, Trevor, Sean Payton is a guy that said this is a young team. He likes this young team. He likes how a young team, doesn't know what they're not supposed to know and just goes out there and fights. Alec Pierce has went out there in his first year, he put up 593 yards. Second year, 514. Now, mind you, this is the Indianapolis Colts. This is not the best quarterback situation until maybe this last year. Well, the year before that, he put up 824 yards, and this last year, he put up 1,003 yards. He was also how do you put this? He did it with the fewest receptions of anybody to get to 1,000 yards in the last 15 years. The guy averages 11.9 yards per target. He has 22.3 and 21.3 yards per reception over the last couple of years. This guy is an absolute deep threat, is what I'm getting at. He's a guy that absolutely hauls them in. He's a guy that's continued to rise. He's a guy that's putting up numbers, and he's putting up numbers on a team that has struggled. I think this is a guy that's absolutely rising star, and why not catch these rising stars right now? Get them in here, get them locked up. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand what you're talking about. This is a $25 to maybe $30 million per year investment when you're talking about Alec Pierce. This is investing in the future. But I'm telling you, man, Alec Pierce continues to stack, and we've been talking about it, Broncos country. Dang it, we need a wide receiver in here. We need some weapons for Bo Nix. This is the first time we talked about Bo Nix. I think that's the first time Bo Nix has actually rolled off our lips. Bo Nix, what Alec Pierce can do to stretch that field, everything opens up, man. I'm a big proponent for Alec Pierce, and I wasn't up until I really started getting into this free agent class.
Yeah, I like Alec Pierce too. I will say though, it kind of goes, if you want to sign Alec Pierce for $25 to $30 million a year, that's a lot of money for a wide receiver on top of paying Cortland Sutton. But you have, Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, and these guys, these young wide receivers that you've invested in, Pat Bryant that you've invested in. It kind of goes against what Sean Payton does, though, in my opinion, because you're going out there and signing that big wide receiver speed threat like Alec Pierce, which, again, I think he's a really good number 2 option. I don't know that he's ever going to be a good number 1, but I think he's a really good number 2 option for a team. And, again, this is where I'm saying you got to be careful how much you're paying these guys because they're going to have to overpay to go get Alec Pierce. And you already have some of these young wide receivers in the room. You would be blocking them by going out there and getting Alec Pierce. And it really I would question why did you take some of these younger guys in the draft? Marvin Mims in the second round. I know Marvin Mims hasn't been flashy. The stats aren't great, but you still have him. You have Pat Bryant, you took in the 3rd round, Troy Franklin in the 4th round. You want to go upgrade the wide receiver room. But again, Sean Payton, usually he likes to draft and develop his wide receivers. I would say it goes up against what Sean Payton has done in the past. And you would really question, were these draft picks worth it if now you're signing Alec Pierce, you're going to be putting him in front of Troy Franklin and some of these other guys, and they're not going to be getting the playing time that you would like that they may need to develop. So Alec Pierce, that would be a home run signing. I like the player, I really do, but I mean, a tight end, what does that do for you at tight end? You're probably going to have to go cheaper at tight end and at linebacker. This is one of the signings you're going to have to go after. I would say some of these other positions of need, running back and linebacker, you're going to have to go a little more on the cheap side if you're going to bring back Alec Pierce. But Alec Pierce, he's going to be a heck of an option for a team, and he's going to get well paid. That's for dang sure.
Brings me right to my point, man. Go out there and get an Alec Pierce, and then Vic is asking, what do you guys think about drafting Stowers?
I love him. I've loved Eli Stowers from the beginning.
Bang. There you go, buddy. You were talking about how you can't go out and invest in the tight end market. I'm trying to put this together. I was trying to be all over the board when I put this list together. I tried not to double dip in any particular positions, but I think we're all the way down to our number 1. Is that what we're talking about here, man? We talk about our number 1?
Absolutely.
Well, here it is. Without further ado, our number 1. And then, hey, stick around. We're not done, man. We got 3 wild cards that we have. 2 by Trevor, 1 by myself as well. Trevor, it's funny how we all kind of come to the same conclusion. In fact, I was sharing these slides before we went live, and Jody's like, "Man, I'm all on board. Big thumbs up." Um, I don't know what else to say. Here's the lead up, man. Number one overall target. Talk about ETN.
Yeah, Travis Etienne. He's been probably my favorite running back target for Denver for a little while now. I like what Travis Etienne has done. I mean, really, 3,000-yard rushing seasons. Again, and we talked about Jacksonville, their cap situation is not the greatest. I think this is a big reason why you're seeing Travis Etienne still on the open market. I think that whatever team gets Travis Etienne Jr. is really going to love him. He's a do-it-all running back. I think this is what gives Denver, along with Tyler Algier, those are the two guys. Travis Etienne Jr., Tyler Algier are two guys that I think give Denver the best chance at having a 3-down back. If you're going to pay for a running back, you might as well go get a running back that can do a little bit of everything. And Travis Etienne can do that for me. And for this Broncos offense, I really think he fits with what this team needs. This is obviously not the greatest running back draft class this offseason. So going out there, getting your veteran lead back in Travis Etienne Jr., I think he can pair up really good with RJ Harvey. Takes a ton of pressure, I think, off of RJ Harvey. I love with what Travis Etienne can do. He's not going to cost you what Kenneth Walker's going to cost you, and he can do more for you than I think Kenneth Walker can do. So I really like what Travis Etienne can bring to this team. 5'10", 215. But this guy is a bruiser. He's the lead back. He's got a lot of speed to his game. Effective in the receiving game as well. He has improved as a blocker, and a good blocker, I think, and can really give Bo Nix another weapon on this offense. You're talking about giving Bo Nix weapons and talking about bringing up Bo Nix, Travis Etienne Jr. Imagine having this in the backfield for Bo Nix. This is exactly what the Broncos need. And so Travis Etienne Jr. would be a big investment for Denver and would be a huge investment for this team and can really give this running game a great shot at a lot of improvement going into next season.
You talked about it, man. 3-time 1,000-yard rusher out there in Jacksonville at a time when, Trevor Lawrence was still trying to learn the position, trying to figure it out. There was questions about Trevor Lawrence, and Travis Etienne just keeps plugging along. 1,000 yards rushing, and that's something to be said because this guy is averaging over 300 yards when it comes to receiving per year as well. All around back, complete type of back. And I know that we're all trying to project what this running back class can be in the draft. You have it sitting there right in front of you. Are you looking for more than, a 1,300-yard back, a guy that can run the ball, that can receive the ball, that can be an every down back for you, and he's sitting out there on the open market? Yeah, you're hoping and praying when it comes to draft picks, when it's proven sitting right in front of you when it comes to ETN. Go out there, get ETN, solve so many problems for this Denver Broncos team, and then the only problem that you'll have is whether Sean Payton is going to actually utilize ETN in the offense. But I guess, hey, we have Davis Webb now calling the shots when it comes to offensive coordinator. ETN is fantastic. I love the pick. I love that so many of us are on board with it. Hopefully the Denver Broncos are on board with it as well. Jody has one question though for you, for me, for the chat. Since we round out all the way to number one, still have our wild cards that we want to throw in here, but since we kind of ended up on running back, we all ended up on running back when it came to ETN. He says, for both of you and for the chat, why has no one said Kenneth Walker? Trevor, I'll let you rattle off your reasons. If I have anything else to add, I'll chime in as well.
Yeah, I just don't think Kenneth Walker can be a 3-down back, I don't think he aligns very well with RJ Harvey. Again, a lot of this is, you want to get your lead back in Denver and help Bo Nix in this offense out, but you also got to get a running back that's going to be able to coincide with RJ Harvey. I think ETN and Algier both are guys that can do that. With Kenneth Walker, he's had injury issues in the past, and he wasn't the lead back there in Seattle. He was sharing that backfield with Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet ended up going down. Suddenly Kenneth Walker had to be the guy. He had to be the guy to step up. And so Kenneth Walker, he's another buyer beware for me. I don't like the signing if Denver ended up going after Kenneth Walker. I think there's a reason why Seattle's like, well, you can go ahead and get paid If the market doesn't work out, you can come back to us and we can talk, but we're not going to go chasing you. There's a reason why they didn't franchise tag him. I know we can say, well, there's a reason why a lot of these teams are letting players go, but truly, it's what Kenneth Walker's going to get paid. He's going to get paid top market kind of money, and so I think if you're Denver, you just got to be cautious in how paying for a guy like Kenneth Walker, who isn't a 3-down back, has injury issues. Yes, you like the explosiveness for Kenneth Walker. I like the explosiveness from Kenneth Walker, but again, are you going to pay for that top of market money, very top of the market money for a running back like Kenneth Walker, not a 3-down back, or are you going to pay for a 3-down back like Travis Etienne, Tyler Algier, and the price is going to be a little bit lower on those guys? I would say plan B. That would be where I would go. But again, I think there will be 18 that will fall in love with Kenneth Walker and be able to pair him up with a running back that's good in pass pro. That's for me is the biggest difference is Travis Etienne, good in pass pro, Tyler Algier, good in pass pro, fits what Sean Payton wants to do with his offense. With Kenneth Walker, that's just something he struggles with.
Yeah, I agree. I agree in a fact and don't agree in a fact, I guess. In the fact that what I don't agree is that he can't be paired with somebody. The part I agree with is he can't be paired with RJ Harvey. I don't think that's the right mix, but that's the problem. I think that Kenneth Walker is a paired type of running back at this point until he can, expand what he can do, expand his repertoire, as they say. And then you're paying top dollar for him. You're paying the top of the market for him. Coming off Super Bowl MVP, the whole nine, that's a lot to ask. I'd rather him, be overpaid someplace else as he tries to learn to do everything he needs to do to be an all-around back. So I agree with you very much. And Jody, I think that you were going to agree almost in the same way. All right, man. It's after hours as we've gone over an hour, so we'll go kind of some rapid fire on these last few, man. Hit me with your first wild card. You got Mr. Bellinger here.
Yeah, Daniel Bellinger is one of my wild cards. I think this would be like an Adam Trautman replacement. If we're being honest, I don't think you can sign Daniel Bellinger and keep what you have with Evan Ingram and then not draft the tight end. He's not going to solve your tight end issues, but this is a guy that I think still has some upside to his game. Big body tight end. I think he's got some upside more than what I think Adam Trautman does. That's why I wouldn't mind taking a chance on him. He's also he's not going to cost you a ton of money just for that fact that hasn't really been on the field. Injuries have been an issue for Daniel Bellinger, but I think when he's been on the field, he's been a good, really good blocker just overall. And he's going to give you something downfield from a versatile standpoint, from a vertical threat standpoint. So still 25 years old. There's something there in his game. He just has not been able to unlock it. I like Daniel Bellinger quite a bit. And it kind of fits what Denver wants to do. I mean, Luke Musgrave was a guy that they liked at the deadline. Daniel Bellinger kind of reminds me of a Luke Musgrave kind of signing. Not a flashy signing by no means, but certainly a guy that can give you something in this tight end room, good blocker, gives you some sort of vertical threat downfield, but you're not having to pay a ton of money for it. Like you would have like a Kate Otton's going to cost you probably $8 to $10 million. Daniel Bellinger, let's be honest. It's going to be about probably not $2 to $4 million range, 1 year deal, kind of taking a shot on a guy and seeing what he can do. I believe he was a former second round draft pick too. So again, there's some upside to his game, a little more upside to his game than I think Adam Trautman, but it comes with the risk of, hey, he's been hurt more than Adam Trautman too.
Yeah, I'll hit my wild card next, man. If we end up striking out when it comes to the ETN sweepstakes, I wanted to have a backup. Brian Robinson Jr. absolutely carried the Commanders' running game for 3 years before he was really let go for a cheap deal off to San Francisco. McCaffrey had one of his best years in his entire career, staying healthy, and Brian Robinson didn't get a sniff of the field. I think this is a guy that absolutely has a ton in the tank, has a ton of grit, and if you had to pair somebody up with RJ Harvey, I'm perfectly fine if you had a Brian Robinson Jr. added that to the mix. I'm not looking at bringing back a J.K. Dobbins, obviously, in that scenario, and I just reset that running back room with a Brian Robinson Jr. That's my wild card, but you have one more, Trevor. We will get to that one as well. Talk about this gentleman here.
Yeah, Jihad Ward. This is a defensive lineman that I like for Denver. If they do indeed lose John Franklin Myers, pull him up really quick. I mean, he fits what JFM was. I mean, he's not JFM per se, but he's 6'5", 285. That's right around where JFM is from a size perspective. He's again would be in that rotation on your defensive line. He's not gonna block Savion Jones. So that's a lot of my my free agent targets is, hey, Savion Jones is still going to get a chance to see a good chunk at the field and get a chance at earning a starting job. But I think what Jihad Ward, a 6'5", 285, gives you something on that defensive line. He had 5 sacks last year for Tennessee. I think that he'd be a nice free agent addition for this team. Gives you some nice depth on that defensive line and can again raise that floor for this defensive line. So you're not just left scrambling around if, hey, Savion Jones doesn't work out, brings in some more competition. He's not going to cost you a ton of money. So a guy that, again, we'll probably see sign later down the line. He's not going to be certainly not going to be your first tier of free agent signings or even maybe your second tier, but gives you something that defensive line room and can be an added veteran because he's been around the league since 2016. So gives you that nice, cheaper veteran defensive lineman that you take a chance on and joins a Super Bowl contender in the Denver Broncos.
Man, what a top 5 list. I'm going to recap mine, man, because we went through some amazing athletes. If anybody wants to vote, feel free. For everybody that chimed in, man, some great ideas, some great thoughts. The Posse members, you've been out there in full form, man, giving us your ideas and your thoughts on our picks as well as your own. For me, I started off with Javon Hargrave, giving a little bit of depth to that defensive line. Transitioned over to Isaiah Likely, giving us a great tight end. Devin Lloyd, linebacker for me. Alec Pierce, fantastic wide receiver, deep threat, doing things that wide receivers haven't done in over 15 years. And topping off with Travis Etienne, really solidifying that running back room. So from defense to offense, I've got it taken care of. Javon Hargrave and Devin Lloyd on defense, Isaiah Likely, Alec Pierce, Travis Etienne on the offensive side. My wild card, in case we didn't land, Travis Etienne, that was Brian Robinson Jr. Then we can go into the draft and figure out what we can do to add to that running back room. That's my plan. Give them your plan, Trevor.
Yeah, so I'll start with my list really quickly. Number 5, I had Calais Campbell. Number 4, I had Bobby Okereke. At number 3, I had Cade Otton. Number 2, I had Tyler Algier. And number 1, I had Travis Etienne Jr. My 2 wild cards was Daniel Bellinger and Jihad Ward.
Yeah. Good list, man. A lot of good free agents out this year. It'll be interesting to see what this Denver Broncos team is going to do in free agency. We heard them from the very get-go, Trevor. We're supposed to be aggressive in free agents in this offseason, they said. That obviously includes the NFL draft as well. We'll be talking a ton about that. But free agency, man. Monday morning, what do we decide? 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's all going to kick off for us, of course, noon Eastern Time for those of you on the East Coast. I hope the Denver Broncos are super aggressive. Your thoughts, man? Do you feel that they're going to be aggressive when the clock opens up with all this tampering already in the books?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see. I think tomorrow will be active for Denver. I think they'll try to get some players back. I would imagine they're going to make a push to try to re-sign Alex Singleton. I think you're going to see some contracts restructured as well. As it stands right now, Denver has $21 to $24 million in cap space. I can't imagine they go into free agency with that. I think they're going to have to expand that money out a little bit and redo a couple contracts. Quentin Meinerz, Pat Surtain, there's a couple contracts they can move from base salary over to signing bonuses, can create some cap space. I fully expect Denver to do so. And I think that they're going to push to try to get some guys back re-signed that they have not been able to do. Alex Singleton is probably one of those guys. I think that Strnad probably test the market, but we're seeing a couple of small deals from Denver. But again, like Keith, like you alliterated earlier, they haven't been too active in resigning like Alex Singleton or some of these other guys quite yet. I think they will do so before free agency officially opens up. The tampering period will open up 10 a.m. Eastern, or excuse me, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I think Denver will be mildly aggressive. I don't think they're going to go crazy. I think they'll be strategic with some of the moves they make. From everything I've heard, running back is definitely top of their list. I expect them to add somebody, maybe even be their first outside free agent signing, and then I think they'll go on from there and add a couple mid-tier free agent signings. But don't expect Denver to go crazy. I don't think they're going to go crazy with this open market, but it all will depend on how much money they free up when they restructure contracts. Keep that in mind tomorrow as we get closer to the tampering period opening up in the NFL when contracts can be negotiated.
I think that's the biggest thing that you just dropped right there. I think that everyone needs to listen to that and watch for that. What are the Denver Broncos going to be doing over the next 24, 48 hours? Restructuring contracts, making money in order to make moves. If they get fairly aggressive, you start seeing those contracts starting to pour through and a lot of money starting to build up. Maybe we see something a little bit bigger on the horizon. It'll be interesting to watch what the Denver Broncos do. It'll be interesting to talk about what the Denver Broncos do, and maybe some other teams too, man. We have the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. We go live every, Wednesday now and Saturday night, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We have the Juice, which is going to be on a special episode Monday night, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, as free agency kicks off. They're going to be all over it. That's all NFL teams. That's Trevor. That's Kenny. Make sure you check them out. We have now the pick is in mock draft show. Man, I got to get all these straight in my head, Trevor. The pick is in mock draft show. We're doing that on Sundays as well, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm telling you, man. It's a fun time of year. We've been all over the place. We have an amazing sponsor named Morgan Trinkets. I've had an amazing sponsor. Maybe I need a sponsor. I've had an amazing co-host this evening in Mr. Trevor Salzman. Trevor, I want you to get your final thoughts in. Man, like I said, fantastic episode. Free agency right around the corner. I think we had a couple of fantastic top 5 lists. I think I'm the champion. You'll say you're the champion. And outside of that, I want to get your final thoughts, my friend.
No, final thoughts. I mean, I love this time of year. Free agency. It's crazy how fast it's come and it's going to come and go. And we're going to be evaluating what the Broncos have done. Like he said, we have the mock draft show. Pick is in mock draft show tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join us for that. We have the Juice coming up. We also have emergency podcasts for the Denver Broncos, Denver Bronco Roundup. We always do an emergency podcast, so keep that in mind as well. So a lot of things happening over here at Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Hopefully everybody can join us. And please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We really appreciate everybody whether you watch live or even after the fact. Just know we do this for you, and hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Keep your notifications on because you never know when we're going to go live. But hope everybody has a great night. Stay safe out there. We'll see you everybody next time. Go Broncos.
Wow, I salute from Trevor. Couple of great call outs. Watch for those contracts being renegotiated. Probably the biggest one, man, at least from our perspective, man. That share, that notification button, man. Anything you can do to help us out, we appreciate it a ton, man. Had a fantastic evening talking with all you Broncos fans out there, man. Appreciate you chiming in, man. Big night when it came to the comments and everybody viewing this evening. Remember, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Love to have you along for the ride, but we're going to get out here the way we always do here on the DBR. Boots on the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and of course, Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next time, we're out of here. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much.